Was that the sound of us going live? That sounded like a sound of us going live.
Yeah, I think we're live. Yeah, all right, there we go.
All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the awesomemode.com Live Before Lock show, where we will discuss the latest comings and goings in the world of daily fantasy sports and tell you how to make lineups and stuff. It's a feature of awesomemode.com, a top DFS website run by the best player in the world. So go sign up for a premium membership now if you haven't, so you'll know all the things we talk about without even asking us. Today, I am joined by the actual baseball savant and the owner of baseballsavant.mlb.com, Jake Hari, noted Minnesota Twins fan. Jake, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going well, except none of that was true. But
You are Jake Hari, so
yeah,
that was correct.
That's true. That's true. My name was right, and then everything else after that was a lie that we tell our trusted audience. Yeah, dude, it's a good slate. So 15 games, like there's probably a ton to talk about. So maybe it's good that it's no NHL, one NBA game, right? The Rockets game.
Yeah, we got the Rockets coming up later. So we will talk a little NBA at some point, but this will be a mostly, as it usually is with Jake, because this is Jake's specialty, mostly an MLB show. But yeah, Jake, let's talk MLB up front. We'll get right into it as the chat trickles in. What are you thinking today in terms of pitchers? Obviously, there's two big pitchers up top. Some, middle price pitchers in there might be interesting, but where are you going with your choices?
Yeah, so I've got like 6 pitchers. I'm playing 20 lineups tonight, and I've got actually 5 pitchers that I'm using. So at the top, I'm playing a lot of Garrett Cole, and then I'm actually fading Sale
Interesting.
in tournaments.
Why?
Like if you're playing cash or whatever, or even if you're playing tournaments, I think Sale's an awesome play. I'm worried after checking our ownership projections on Sale. So I'm just a little bit worried about that. I think that it shouldn't be that big of a discrepancy between Sale and Garrett Cole. So I'm just going with a lot of Garrett Cole, hoping Sale doesn't kill me. And then I like Caleb Smith, wrote him up in the Spotlight Pitchers. We talked about Lance Lynn, wrote him up in the Spotlight Pitchers. We talked about him just super, super cheap. And then 2 other guys that we mentioned earlier that I was interested in, Domingo Germán for the Yankees, and then Trevor Cahill too. Like, I mean, I don't know if he's fully healthy, but we've got him being pretty low owned, so that is encouraging. Like, I'm going to take a couple shots on him because I have so many lineups. If I had one lineup, I wouldn't play Cahill, but since I've got a few to play with, he'll definitely be on some of them.
No Caleb Smith for you?
No, I love Caleb Smith. Yeah, he was one of the
okay.
Yeah, I love Smith.
I missed that. Yeah, Caleb Smith and Germán I like, and I wish I had the courage. I'm only playing one lineup tonight and then just putting it in one of the big tournaments. But I think for me, like Germán and Smith looked really appealing. And then also like on some level, I was intrigued. Like right now, my pitchers on DraftKings are Sale and Lynn. And at that same price point, you can get to like Hellickson and Happ, who we don't grade out very well. I think they're both actually E grades. Not great Vegas totals on those guys. But in a world of variance, I'm wondering if maybe Happ and Hellickson is a pivot, because like everybody you mentioned, I feel like are the same guys I've seen mentioned all day.
Yeah, I'm not on either Happ or Hellickson. The problem I have with Happ is just the matchup against all these Angels righties. So, I mean, he was not easy for me to cross off, but just because there are other options that are cheaper than him that I like. He was someone I crossed off pretty early. And then Hellickson I just don't think has the strikeout upside. Plus, you got to worry about weather in that game. That's the one game that looks like it may have some weather concerns.
Yeah, I mean, the Padres are so bad. That was one reason I thought, hey, maybe you can go against them, get something out of it. But that was just the thought that I had, like, because I don't know. I'm surprised that Happ graded out so poorly. Like, I know it's not a great matchup and the Vegas total's not fantastic. Happ has done pretty well in some matchups against other teams that have been tough. And, again, not somewhere I'm going, but somewhere if you're playing on DraftKings, that was something that jumped out to me. This guy's asking about a Washington St. Louis stack, but let's just talk stacks in general before we get into any specific ones. What stacks are your favorite ones, Jake?
Yeah, I've got that pulled up. Here we go. So I love the Red Sox. I don't know. They're saying my audio sounds a little bit down, so I turned the volume up on both my mic and the software we use. So let me know if this sounds okay. I like the Red Sox. Yankees are obvious. The Pirates. I almost said the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh Pirates. I love the Astros, and then Cardinals. I ended up on like some White Sox mini stacks as well. Who am I forgetting here? The A's. I think I ended up with one A's stack, and that was about it.
Yeah, I like the Pirates. Jake and I were talking about it before we went on the air. I like the Pirates a lot, but I worry a little bit. Their team total's gone down a little throughout the day, and I don't know. I just have a feeling like I've seen them mentioned in a couple of sites that I checked, just who have picks, including our own, and we had the Pirates, I think, on Josh's article this morning as being a top stack and Polanco being a potential top hitter. I don't know. I worry a little bit about the Pirates, but I'll probably play them. And the Yankees. I like Stanton. I think we have as being one of the highest owned plays on DraftKings. I presume on FanDuel as well. Stanton versus a lefty who's been particularly bad as well. Might be a little injured still. Who knows? Stanton and the Yankees, I think, is probably one of my favorite stacks because that might not be super highly owned because it's so expensive. I don't know. What do you think about the Yankees?
Yeah, I think they're going to be popular. You got like Lance Lynn and Caleb Smith and Domingo Germán. Like these guys are ways to get Yankee hitters in. So I think they'll be fairly chalky. I don't know that they will be with well, actually you can fit them in with Sale and Cole because of Lance Lynn. So they should get some ownership. But a lot of that's going to be with Lance Lynn. So if you can make a Yankee stack without Lance Lynn, or maybe go with two mid-tier guys, or Smith and Germán, or Smith and Cahill, or some combination of those guys, I think that would be an interesting way to get a little bit different with your Yankee stack. Because from what I'm looking at, they're going to be pretty popular.
Yeah, I mean, we have the main guys being pretty highly owned. Obviously these Gary Sanchez's and Stanton's. Everybody knows at this point Stanton's has been really amazing versus lefty this year. I'm thinking the differentiation point is having, like a Tyler, a Tyler Austin. Let me see what we have in that. Like having a Tyler Austin in that lineup, I think would differentiate the stack enough, at least based on our ownership projections. I don't know. I think Stanton might have the biggest day on the slate today. I just have that vibe with him. And that worries me to not have him if he's going to be, 30% owned or whatever we have him as.
Yeah, I mean, I love Stanton. I've got a bunch of him. If he's the highest, like, raw point scorer on the slate, I wouldn't be shocked at all. Like, I could easily see him hitting 2 home runs. It's just an ownership game with him. So I've got some exposure. I think I'll probably be, like, even with the field on the Yankees. But, I'm not going – I don't want, like, the Yankees to really decide my night is how I'm playing it right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I think there's a logic there. Obviously, I think, you can make a case both ways. I like, if the Pirates stack is lower owned, I think then you can go with the Yankees. But same thing if you're not stacking like the Cardinals. So the Cardinals, actually, I wonder about their ownership tonight too. I don't know if we have them at. Because I love Tyler O'Neill. We talked about Tyler O'Neill on the stream yesterday, and his sexy muscles. And boy, that guy can fucking rake. Like and he's got a great matchup to do it again tonight.
Tyler O'Neill has sexy muscles? Is that right?
Yeah, he's jacked. Somebody made us look up a photo of him because apparently he's got really good arms. One of our chat regulars whose name I think currently escapes me. I guess I probably don't want to out the guy who's chatting up players' sexy muscles. But dude's ripped, and boy, he hit another home run yesterday. He looked great. I think he's hit like 3 home runs in 2 games. I like Tyler O'Neill. I want to get to that stack, but I didn't get there for the Cardinals. I think Carpenter, my boy who hit a home run yesterday, was my pick. Also looks pretty good to me. I'm curious about the Cardinals.
Yeah, did I mention the Cardinals? It feels like I'm stacking up like 10 teams tonight. Just like
you got a lot of lineups, so you have a little taste of everybody.
Yeah, it's weird to have 20 lineups and be able to get some exposure to all these guys. So I like the Cardinals too, against Jason Hamill. Hamill, I just think he's done. He's one of my favorite pitchers to stack against. Huge xFIP, bunch of hard hits, and then the Cardinals just have a bunch of power with Ozuna and O'Neill, I guess. Sexy muscles, Tyler O'Neill.
That's his official nickname now. Sexy muscles, Tyler O'Neill. I like it.
Yeah, I love it.
Sexy Tyler O'Neill.
Fowler leading off for 3,400. Carpenter's still super cheap. like Jose Ramirez, those top five, Jose Martinez. I mean, those top five for St. Louis, I love. So I think I've got one or two full St. Louis stacks in there.
Yeah, I like Dexter Fowler. I think him getting a day off, I like him coming back in, maybe having a clearer head. And then, yeah, I guess that stack doesn't look terribly owned according to our projections from what I can see. So the Cardinals, again, a team who did really well going against a bad pitcher, probably should be higher owned than I think we have them at right now.
Yeah, I'm going to check. Let's see. I'll just search for one of the guys. Yeah, I mean, some of the guys should be decently owned. Like, I think Ozuna will get some ownership, just 3,200 against a bad pitcher. Like, people will jump on that as a one-off. But I don't think the stack as a whole is going to be mega chalk, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, I agree. So let's see. I guess while we're on the topic, then let's talk about kind of the lesser-owned stacks tonight that might be worth something. Which ones would you look at? Obviously, one of the things that you mentioned in one of the first live streams that we did together was stacking against the high-owned pitcher. And there are two tonight who very highly owned, obviously going to be, projected to be very successful. Who would you stack against out of Sale or Cole, or is there anybody up there who you would go against to be super contrarian?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't stack against Sale or Cole. So those, like, I think that's getting too cute on a 15-game slate. The one guy that we have projected to be pretty highly owned is Kevin Gausman. I definitely would stack against him. I'm a little bit worried about Gausman in general. I talked about how no Caleb Joseph hurts him. And then the White Sox do have some power, and Gausman is prone to giving up power. So I love Moncada, Abreu, and Matt Davidson, and then Daniel Palka as well a little bit for 3,700. Yeah, isn't that your boy, Palka?
He is. He's actually had him in one lineup last night. He actually did okay. He didn't hit a home run. But I thought he was in a pretty good spot last night. I like Palka. Palka's actually moved up the order and looked like a viable player in some games.
Yeah, he comes up pretty highly for me too. So 3,700 against Gausman. Yeah, I'm in for some White Sox, especially if Gausman's going to be as highly owned as we have him.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think I was actually looking at the White Sox too. I think they're interesting. Oakland, I generally don't play Oakland a ton, but going against Mike Leake seems like an interesting spot. We've seen a lot of bad performances by Mike Leake, a couple of okay ones too. I'll go with one that I don't think is going to be that great, which is getting a lot of talk across the industry. I don't think the Houston stack is that great. Like I like Suarez a little more than most people, and I get that might be unique. But I also just don't think they grade out that well versus a lefty like him.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to fade one of the chalkier stacks, like I would have no problem fading the Yankees. I would have no problem fading Houston. There's just so many options tonight that, like, if you just want to wipe out 10 to 15% of the ownership and just hope that stack flops, that could put you at a huge advantage on a slate this big. So Houston's certainly going to be popular, right? We've got them as being pretty popular, and just their pricing is so nice on DK that it's pretty easy to fit them in. I think I'm higher on Houston than you are. I've got quite a bit of them. Suarez just gives up so much hard contact to righties. That's why I'm concerned about him. 50% this year and over 90 mile an hour average exit velocity.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody's asking about Max Stassi. I think they're asking about two Maxes, but Max Stassi being one of the guys going against Suarez tonight. He looks good from a grade standpoint. I don't know. There's nobody else on Houston's side really jumps out to me. Like, I wanted to play Correa as a one-off, and I looked at him and it was like, yeah, he has a pretty good on-base percentage. But nobody jumped off enough where I felt like it's worth going against Suarez. I don't know. And the total going down too did make me feel like the Astros were a particularly great deal tonight. But that's just my opinion. Let's see.
I like Stassi. I mean, he's hitting lefties really well this year. So 3,500. Yes. He's going to be lower owned than Gaddis, obviously hitting behind him and priced up higher. So if you're stacking Houston and you think they're going to be really chalky, then maybe throw in Stassi instead of Gaddis as a contrarian little pivot while still staying on the chalk stack.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Stassi, in terms of the guys on that side, like I think he looks the best if you were to kind of look for a cheaper guy, especially a catcher. Where obviously, we discussed every single show that it sucks. Trying to pick a catcher. How do you think about Arizona tonight? The Diamondbacks. This guy's talking about them. I feel like somebody else mentioned them.
Yeah, I'm not on them. They've just been so bad. Josh and I talked about it this morning. Their numbers are awful against righties this year. I don't think Chassin is some world beater or anything, but he did just dominate them last week. So I'm a little worried about the Diamondbacks, and they just don't have that many good hitters against righties. So I'm off of them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't land on them at all. If you were to try to play anybody from there, I mean, yeah, really nobody looks that great to me. I guess Goldschmidt looks okay. Yeah, I don't know. The Diamondbacks don't really do it for me. I don't see any reason to go there unless you want to play Goldschmidt as a one-off, maybe.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I could see doing. Oh, I mean, maybe Jake Lamb, but I haven't seen how he's looked since he's back. But I don't think I have a single Diamondbacks player in any of my lineups.
How about going off of the other pitcher, Cook? I feel like you guys maybe talked about him at some length on the show this morning, but Cook is a guy who seems targetable, but he's also been up and down. What do you think about Cook? Would you go with him or against him?
Oh, I'm against him. I like the Brewers. And so I think I have one share of Alex Avila just because he's 2,500 and I needed him. So I just wanted to correct that about the Diamondbacks hitters. One share of Alex Avila. That's it.
Big cosign for Alex Avila. I'm sure that means a lot to him.
Yeah. But no, Cook just gives up a lot of hard hits, doesn't really strike guys out, and then these Brewers have a lot of power. Yelich leading off, I like. Travis Shaw, two of my favorite plays on the slate. And then Lorenzo Cain, Santana, G-Man Choi, you can play at first base or outfield. He's got some power. I'm on the Brewers more than Matt Cook.
Okay. And then also Josh mentioned in the chat, which I didn't see, that the Diamondbacks have slipped for him since his morning video. So if you're playing the Diamondbacks as Josh was in on them, that has changed. I guess while we have Josh in the chat, let's do our home run picks. Obviously, I'm feeling pretty frisky after I now doubled my lead on Jake. 4-2 to 1 for Josh. Josh is on the board, though. What's your pick for the night, Jake?
Oh, wow. I wasn't ready for this. You give yours. I'll find mine in just a second.
All right. For me, I am going to go. See, actually, I wasn't ready. I'm going to go. I like going second because I feel like it gives me like a bar to hit. I think I'm going to go with an easy one just to try to keep the streak going, but a guy I do believe in a lot. I'm going to go with Giancarlo Stanton.
Oh, come on. I wasn't going to take Stanton. I'm not trying to go that obvious. Let's see. Who is a player that I have?
The thing is, even though it seems obvious, it's not really that obvious.
No.
He still has to hit a home run. It's
right.
not, it's still hard.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just giving you some shit there, but
it's fair. It's fair. It's a fair criticism. I'll just defend myself from it to the death.
Dude, my ownership is so spread out. It's so weird with all these lineups. Moncada, he's my home run pick, leading off.
Okay. I also, honestly, I would have been pretty close to Tyler Austin. Tyler Austin and old sexy muscles Tyler O'Neill. All the Tylers. Give me all the Tylers, too. But yeah, no, I got to go with the guy who grades out the best to me, and that's going to be Stanton. I haven't picked Stanton yet, so I feel like it's okay. That's my pick. I don't know. What's Josh? If you have a pick in the chat, Josh is just berating us from the chat, or really berating me, not berating you, Jake. But yeah, Josh will give his pick, I'm sure, soon. I had Carpenter yesterday, so I wouldn't go Carpenter again. But boy, do I like Carpenter. I think Carpenter looks good again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be pretty popular, I would think, for good reason against Jason Hamill. Hamill he's a hot mess. I don't really have much respect for him. Wait, who's Josh's pick? Oh, Travis Shaw.
Oh, he's got Travis Shaw. Oh, well, sorry, I was just distracted by your hurtful words. But
yeah.
But no, that Travis Shaw. Travis Shaw's an okay pick too. The first stack I made on the day was the Brewers, and I liked them. I just kind of came off them. The Pirates jumped out a little more to me. And I don't know. I feel like I might regret that. The Brewers look really good to me, though, from that middle of the order.
Hey, Chris, are you Awesemo? Someone's asking.
I wish. I wish financially. I think I wish I were. Overall, I'm okay with my overall offering. But no, I'm not Awesemo. Awesemo is a guy who I do premium videos with on Wednesdays, so I presume we'll do one tomorrow. But no, he's the founder of our site. His name is Alex Baker. He's a different person. Josh K, don't talk shit about me taking Stanton. Listen. The guy has to hit a home run. It's a very difficult thing to do. We like to make it seem easy. My particular form of wizardry, where I was able to pick these guys early on, random assholes off the street I was picking to hit home runs. That was very difficult. Now I'm just trying to pick good players going against pitchers who I want to target, and I'm going with stupid former Mike Stanton. Why did he change his name?
I don't know. That's a good question. One that I don't know the answer to. But Giancarlo is such a cooler name than Mike.
It is, but once you've already publicly been Mike, like, why wouldn't you? I'm just like, it's weird to switch it up. I don't mind it, but Giancarlo Stanton sounds more like a character on, like, Narcos than it does a pro pitcher. Whereas Mike Stanton, I guess Mike Stanton sounds kind of like a fat white guy who would, like, play in the 80s.
Right. Yeah, Giancarlo, he's just a slugger, just bombing home runs in Yankee Stadium. That's what it sounds like to me.
And it could be like a single name thing too, where like he probably wanted people to be like, "Oh, I'm just Giancarlo." Like he's want to be referenced like LeBron. If you're just Mike, nobody's like, "Oh yeah, Mike." Like the great baseball player Mike. Got too many Mikes.
Yeah.
Caleb Smith. People asking about again. Let's go over Caleb Smith one more time. You're a fan. I'm a fan, but why?
Yeah, well, I think he's really good. I think he's gonna be a really good pitcher. He may already be a really good pitcher. He's had some nice starts this year, and then the matchup is exceptional. Like, the Mets grade out as probably the worst team in the MLB against lefty pitchers this year. Like, I think they have the lowest WRC plus. They're in the bottom 3 in like ISO, K percentage, all that. And so if I think Smith is good and he's 6,400, I'm a little worried about the weather, but it looks like a late start, and then they're going to play through just fine. It looks like the storm is passing New York, so they should be fine. Man, I just love Smith tonight. I don't think you can really beat that price. Maybe Lance Lynn for $2K cheaper, but Smith is my guy. He's, I think, my most owned pitcher tonight.
I mean, he's got the second, obviously a smaller sample size, but he's got the second highest K per 9 out of all the pitchers on the slate, just behind Chris Sale. And also, again, another guy right there, mostly because of the one game he had. His first start was really good, but Herman, grades out really well. Just, very small sample size. But I feel like I'm going to regret not playing Herman and Smith.
Yeah, I think I've got a few lineups with both of them, which I'm pretty excited about. I just sort of mix and match pitchers with the double stacks. I tried to double stack and mix and match like those 5 pitchers that I was mentioning. So those 5 were Cole, Smith, Cahill, Lynn, and Herman. Herman, like, he had a 9 strikeout game against the Indians, which is pretty nuts. I think he only threw 84 pitches in that start too. Not saying he's going to do that here, but the Rangers are very undisciplined. A lot of guys that just wave and miss, like, about Gallo, Mazzara, Ryan Rua at the bottom of this lineup. Guzman strikes out like over 30% of the time. Chirinos is striking out a ton. Odor. Man, there are a lot of strikeouts if Herman can keep the ball in the yard. So it's definitely risky, like Tanaka last night, but I'm taking some stabs at him for sure.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think, like, honestly, I like those guys as the pivot to going Cole and or Sale. Like, just go with those guys and then load up on the biggest bats you can find. The thing with me, like, I didn't see a stack where I was like, oh, it's worth paying up for all of these guys. The Yankees were the closest, but even then, you don't really use up enough money to feel super comfortable. I don't know. I think it's an interesting move, though, to go to that middle of the pack. Somebody mentioned that Luke Weaver was being projected on another site. I don't know which one, which fake rhyming name to give it, because I'm not sure which site it was. But Luke Weaver, do you have any thoughts on him? He's got a pretty good Vegas money line, but he didn't come up for me as being an amazing play.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he's chalk. I because I have 0 Luke Weaver, and I couldn't feel better about it. Like 15-game slate, you're gonna need your pitchers to outperform their salary. He's 8,500. I much prefer Smith raw points, point per dollar, all that. I much prefer Herman, and I'd probably even take Lance Lynn over him if they were priced the same on this slate. I just don't see the strikeout upside with Weaver in general. Now he's going against the team that has the lowest K percentage against righties this year. Yeah, it's a big money line, but I really don't like Weaver as an $8,500 pitcher in this spot. So, yeah, I hope he's chalk because I will not be playing him.
Somebody's asking about, I don't know why, I assume somebody's playing a short slate. Where did that go? Asking about who do you like in the Seattle-Oakland game and the Colorado game.
Well, say that again?
Which guys do you like from the 2 late games, Seattle versus Oakland and Colorado versus Los Angeles?
Man, just a late 2-game slate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, looking at it from a stack perspective, I would be most inclined to stack the Athletics out of those 4 teams.
Me too. It would be the A's. So, like, I probably would like all the chalk on that slate. I don't really know how that would look, but I'd want to stack against Leak, probably play Cahill. And then maybe Bettis. Maybe he can survive. The Dodgers aren't anything special. He's 6,300. But I feel dirty even mentioning Chad Bettis on this stream because
those do kind of seem like the only options. Like I mean the Dodgers basically have a glorified reliever out there who's not going to get enough run. Yeah, I think you're right on that. Which not great options, but yeah, the A's stack looks good. I wish Davis were playing. I would like it more if he were in. But Olsen, Chapman, Joyce, those guys look like a pretty good part of a stack to me. Let's see. BVP talk again. No, we don't do BVP. BVP is an okay thing to look at as like a tiebreaker thing, but in general, you should be looking at performance versus the handedness of the pitcher rather than worrying about, some guy having someone's number, because a lot of times that's more of an oasis or an optical illusion. Thoughts on Shields? You're a noted James Shields lover, as many in the DFS industry are. So what do you think about him tonight?
Yeah, I would probably have some interest in him as far as playing him if it were a different slate. I just think there are a ton of other options around him, like Lynn, like Caleb Smith. These guys are all within like 1,000 of him. So no Shields for me, but I think he's missed enough bats for me where I don't have any Orioles stacks. And I'm not all that concerned about it. The Orioles didn't make like my top even like 10 stacks. So I think they're going to be too heavily owned for the type of spot it is. I have a little bit of respect for Shields.
Yeah, I don't think Shields is rather the Orioles are in an amazing spot versus Shields. There are a couple guys I would play. Like I don't have an issue playing Machado. I think my high school pal Pedro Alvarez, I think looks pretty interesting to me. There are a couple guys on that side who I think are interesting. That said, the run total doesn't jump off the page. I don't know that this is like, I like targeting Shields. I don't think this is the night to target Shields on either side.
I agree.
Where's Alex from? I've noticed he has an accent. I don't know where Alex is from actually, but I'll ask him on tomorrow's video. I feel like he's from Chicago, but I might just be assuming that because he lives in Chicago.
He's from the future.
that's actually, he's using a sports almanac. Like Josh and I have discussed on the show before. That's why he's so successful at DFS, is that he's using all of the stats that he knows from the past. Washington, San Diego delayed. Is there any concern the game doesn't go?
I don't have any concern. At least I didn't before I came on the stream. I can go look that up.
Find some concern for yourself.
What?
Find some concern for yourself. Concern troll.
I'll look. I can never remember the park name when I'm looking this up. Is it just Nationals Park? It is. Okay.
I believe it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, we can move on to the next question while I'm pulling this up.
Some guys asking about 3,200 for a one-off catcher on DK. Uh,
I think Pena is 3,200 exactly. I like him. Severino, I know, is below that. I'm not sure. There's not a lot I like. I'm paying up for catcher like Grandal and Sanchez and Gaddis, although that's not really paying up. Cervelli.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stassi, but Stassi is 3,500. I'm paying up for Sanchez tonight too. So, yeah, that's it. I guess. Oh, Alex is from Detroit. His bio says obsessed with all things Detroit. Does that? I didn't know that. I don't recall. His Twitter bio says that.
I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah, sure. He's from Detroit. He could be from everywhere. He's from everywhere and nowhere. How about that? He's fucking mysterious.
He is mysterious.
I'm in DC. The game is a go. Might start late. Okay. Thank you, Greek Ink. So no worries. Yeah, nothing particularly worrisome thus far weather-wise on the slate.
Yeah. It looks.
How about the Mets? Actually, the Mets game. A question I'll ask you. If you're a premium member, Alex mentioned him in passing in his article today, where he breaks down the likelihood of being the top pitcher on a slate. It's pretty interesting. It's a good statistical thing to look at that nowhere else I think in the industry offers. But one guy he mentioned as being in the mix for him was Zach Wheeler. Do you have any thoughts on Zach Wheeler?
Yeah, I'm not on him. Like, I get the play when you just look at Vegas and all that, but I don't really know what to do with Wheeler. Like, it is a good matchup against the Marlins, but now we've been saying it since he came back, but Prado's in the lineup. Bohr can hit righties. There's not a ton of strikeouts in this Marlins lineup. And then if Wheeler's going to be chalky, then I'll gladly take the other side, go with Smith, go with some of these other guys that I think have huge K upside. And I don't really think that Wheeler has that in this matchup.
Okay. Yeah, I think I like Smith more too. But I mean, yeah, hey, if Osmo says it, it's something worth bringing up and discussing. Let's see, who is this? Lorenza keeps mentioning the Reds, so let's talk about the Reds. Oh, is it delayed due to rain? The Pittsburgh Cincinnati game?
Yep, I just saw that.
Oh, all right. Well, does that make us worry about that?
I'll pull that one up too.
Let's see. Still green on the unnamed Moto Blinders site.
Let's see. Weatherman Jake will give it a look.
Late.
Ooh, hail likely in 5 minutes. Or 4 or 5 minutes, whatever.
But a lower chance of precipitation, though. Not great.
I mean,
what?
It looks fine. Yeah, I don't think that Cincinnati has any problem playing. This one storm is going to pass, and then they're going to be fine.
Okay, I hope so. Chat being racist. I don't see the chat being racist, and I'm pretty aware. Like, I try to not let people be racist in the chat. So if you see something, flag it or something. I don't know, whatever. But no racism in the chat. Please don't be racist. I'll go on a limb and say that. Please don't be racist in general, but especially in our chat. Talon. So yeah, going against Talon, if you were the Reds, is that a move you would do? I didn't see that as being a thing for me.
No, I think there are better offenses going up against worse starting pitchers than Tyon. He's just a pretty solid pitcher. Like, not someone I'm really looking to play here, but also not looking to stack against him. It sounds like a cop out, but I mean, if I had to play a player against it, would probably be Votto. But I don't really think I can get to a full Reds stack, and I think it's going to be really low owned. So if you're on the Reds, fire him up, because I don't see them having a lot of ownership here.
Yeah, I could see talking myself into Votto, Gennett, Schebler. I think that, there are a couple guys here who grade out pretty well to me, pretty good on base percentages. Votto in particular, boy, very, very high. So yeah, I could see that being interesting, but yeah, I don't think Tyon is that terrible. So that's my one caveat, but interesting. Reds is an interesting approach. What stacks would you play with Sale or Cole on FanDuel? That's a pretty broad question.
Well, neither of us play on FanDuel, right? So that's gonna
No, so it's a broad question and a question we don't have an obvious answer to off the top of our heads.
Let's see. I'll just eyeball it quick and see if you can fit some of these that I like. Are the Twins cheap enough? Because I like the Twins. I don't know if I mentioned them off the top of the show, but Grossman is 2,000, and then Garver's 2,100. But you don't have to play a catcher on FanDuel. The Cardinals are super cheap on FanDuel, so you could definitely play them with Cole or Sale, and then
play Sexy Muscles.
Yeah, dude, Sexy Muscles 2,500. Colton Wong, I'm not a big fan of him, but 2,200. Like Fowler leading off for 2,800. Ozuna is 2,500. Those are pretty good prices. Pirates probably not cheap enough, but they would be a stack that I like. I like Moran and Meadows. So if you want to stack sort of that middle to the bottom of the Pirates order, I think that's a pretty awesome play.
Moran and Meadows are in my one lineup for the day.
Are they really? Yeah,
yep.
I like it.
Actually, yeah, the way I'm differentiating even more with the Pirates stack is I'm not playing Polanco, but I am playing Meadows and Moran.
Yeah, I've got in my Pirate stacks, I've got a hodgepodge of, those three outfielders. I'm trying not to go all three outfielders in one stack, but I think I did it once. So, whatever. I mean, I like all the Pirates outfielders for sure.
Yeah, this the pirate I like the least is Harrison, but I feel like with him with the stack, it just makes sense to go with him. But yeah, I currently have Moran, Mercer, Dickerson, Meadows all in the mix. Let's see.
I only ended up. I don't think I ended up with any Harrison. So now that you say that, like I just started with Polanco. I got Cervelli in there, Bell, Dickerson. I kind of went 2 through 7, some combination of those guys, and I didn't end up on Harrison. So I'm hoping he doesn't make me pay for that.
Company sucks. No, that's fair. Yeah, I went the other way where I figured I'll get the bottom of the order stack and then go back to Harrison. But yeah, I don't know. Harrison, to be clear, I don't think is a great play. He's just an okay play at second base in a day where like I'm stacking Pirates. Only a 10-minute delay for San Diego and Washington, so that's good. Dickerson, Moran, and Meadows for Lorenzo. Good for you, Lorenzo. I agree. Oh, that's right, Jake. You did mention the Twins. You are a homer. They are your favorite team.
Yeah, no, they're not, but whatever. They've been in good spots, and Boyd's not someone I'm scared of. I'm kind of pissed that they didn't leave in Max Kepler because Kepler's been crushing lefties, and he was going to be super low owned, and I would have had him in some Twin stacks. So kind of mad about that, but I do like 1 through 5 for the Twins still, with Grossman being relatively cheap for 3,100.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you can't play the favorite player on your favorite team, the Minnesota Twins.
I know. My Twins.
Spencer Singleton also points out that he loves using your personal website, baseballsavant.mlb.com, for pitcher stats. That is a great resource to use when you're doing your data. It's not part of the Awesemo Premium offering, but maybe one day we can get Jake to port it over from MLB.com. But baseballsavant.mlb.com, a good way to gauge pitchers who are very likely to get rocked. So yeah,
we'll team up one day.
It's gonna be funny when you get hired somewhere like else where they throw a crazy money offer. And you're like, wait, you built that site, didn't you? Like I watched your live stream. They're always talking about it. That's your personal website.
Yeah, Baseball Savant. Man, they should be paying me because, like, maybe you're gonna talk me into some money here because people are in chat talking about how Baseball Savant's awesome and stuff, and thank you to me. Yeah, it's a site I love using. I'm not paid by them, but maybe one day if you keep telling me how good it is.
You should just change your nickname to Jake the Baseball Savant Hari and just make that your brand on everything.
Yeah.
Just see what happens. See where it gets you.
Yeah, it's a great site. BaseballSavant.com.
To be clear, it's not Jake's website. If MLB wants to sue us or anything, because they do get litigious, but we'll just pretend you didn't hear that. Well, I'm going to keep making the joke in perpetuity as long as we do this stream. With baseball being so up and down at times, even though Vegas is Vegas, do you go with the numbers when picking a player or Vegas if they differ? Jake, you have a pretty hard line stance about that, I think, but what would you say to that?
I'm rereading the question. With baseball being so up and down, what does he mean, the numbers?
like your projections or your,
Oh yeah,
rankings.
I mean, I trust my numbers for individual players more than Vegas. I mean, if you're making projections, you probably should. I think you should. Well, you can weigh Vegas into your projections. I think that's a pretty smart idea, especially if you're playing a bunch of lineups like Josh does. I know Vegas is very helpful in his projections. So, I mean, I guess I don't really know how to answer that because I go on numbers, but sometimes Vegas agrees. So it's not like necessarily mutually exclusive, those two things, picking numbers or picking against Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, usually most projections are built with Vegas totals as a pretty big part of it. That's also why we don't currently offer a ton of Vegas content, and I don't think that's actually going to change much, even with the gambling laws being passed. Because like a lot of DFS stuff is built around the Vegas being the baseline for it, and Vegas generally knows more than anybody playing the daily fantasy sport does. So they tend to go hand in hand, but like the one thing that we've learned is the money line for pitchers in particular is no foolproof thing. It is a good way to kind of build your general overall projections. But we've seen that blow up. I mean, fucking an unreal amount of time since we've been doing the stream for a couple weeks. Often every night, one of the top pitchers who Vegas thinks is the best money line pitcher, or at least is represented as such, ends up tanking. So it's not a be all end all.
Yeah. And just people are talking about like reverse line movement and stuff. That's completely different than like well, it's related to DFS, but it's a completely different thing. Sports betting and DFS, like completely different arts to being profitable at those. So just wanted to point that out. Like Vegas is not the end all be all, especially for me. And I rarely look at Vegas besides like a reference point. If I think a pitcher is a huge favorite, I might like write down in my notes he's a minus 220 favorite or whatever. Like, so for example, Luke Weaver is a minus 200 favorite. I am not even considering playing Luke Weaver tonight. Like, I don't think the strikeouts are going to be there. He could certainly get the win here, but Vegas isn't worried about strikeouts. They're worried about how likely St. Louis is to win the game. And the Cardinals could win the game if Weaver throws 5 innings with 1 strikeout. So, that's
yep. Yeah. I agree. What do you think about Brock Stewart? This guy's asking, and would you go Brock Stewart or Lance Lynn? I think that's pretty easily Lance Lynn.
Yep, Lance Lynn. Man, Stewart, he's a reliever. Like, I didn't dig into him at all. But yeah, wait. I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat and trying to answer the question at the same time.
Yeah, people are talking about more sports betting stuff about. I mean, like, fading the public isn't the thing I mean, look, we don't need to get into sort of any granular level of detail on sports betting. There are a lot more sites which actually will pretend like they know more but don't know a ton more. But in general, the key is not to fade the public. It's more to fade bad public teams and stuff, like teams that get bid up too much, like the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees are obviously a team which has been performing well, but teams like that tend to get more action from the it's not less intelligent, the not smart bettors. Whereas the smart bettors are usually putting action on teams that are not the Yankees of the world or the Packers in football, stuff like that. The Patriots, those are the kind of things that are helpful. But yeah, fucking don't sports bet yet. wait until you know more. Just don't make silly things.
Yeah, there's no hard rules in sports betting or DFS really. Like you should never be saying like, oh, I always fade this team, I always fade this guy. If the price is right, and that goes with like the money line or whatever, then you should bet on a team or a player if it makes sense. There's no hard rules. You should never always stack against a certain pitcher. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I have to say about sports betting and DFS and how they're related. There shouldn't be any hard rules that you have.
Yep, I agree. And I think too, the thing to remember with sports betting is that line is designed to make them win money either way. So that's the main thing to keep in mind. It's not necessarily an indicator of anything. Considering becoming a premium member, what content will be sent daily and what time of day would I receive it? The projections and stuff get updated throughout the day. They have certain timelines, which you can see if you click the article. I think even if you're not signed up, you can see when they update it and whatever. But there are like half-hour updates on the rankings. I think pretty much throughout the day. We get notifications throughout the day for sure. that they're being updated, and ownership projections tend to come a little closer to lock. For like something like the showdown slate tonight, it's usually pretty close to lock. For baseball, it's usually a little earlier in the day.
Yeah,
but you're getting that stuff. Go ahead.
For baseball, it says right here on the ownership projections, if you click on the page,
Yep.
I think you can even view this if you're not a premium member. At least the top part says initial ownership percentages are posted daily by 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's 3 hours before normal lock. And then they'll get updated as more lineups roll in and stuff. So
Yeah, that's basically it. And again, there's no really hiding anything with what we're doing out there. They're all actually Osmos projections, so you're getting stuff that he's using and forming rankings based off of. So it's pretty helpful. Go sign up, osmo.com, become a premium member. Jose Batista's making his debut tonight, apparently.
what?
Jose Batista's in for Jay Bruce.
Oh, all right.
That happened fast. I was actually going to make a joke about we should all roster Jose Batista, but I guess you actually could roster Jose Batista.
Can you? I thought there was a rule when you.
You probably can't. No, you're right. Well, unless he probably wouldn't accrue points. He might be in the lineups though because he's probably still in the Braves in their stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if he's playable. I know there used to be a rule where if a guy moved in a certain amount of days, DK didn't have him, but maybe that's completely old and not the case anymore.
What I mentioned going Pittsburgh as a stack, would I recommend any of them as a one-off? I recommend any as a one-off. Maybe Meadows. I like Meadows. Not a great sample size there, though, so I have a hard time advocating for him. But I think any of the lefties there, I think, could be a viable one-off going against Matt Harvey. What do you think?
Yeah, I love the Pirates lefties. I have little respect for Harvey. So Moran, Meadows, I would go down to, and then, yeah, I mean, I'm on all these Pirates lefties and Cervelli too, so no real issue with any of them.
Yeah. People asking about NBA. We didn't talk NBA at all.
Yeah,
I guess just real quick on NBA. I think these series, the showdown slates, are sort of self-evident, where it's just, I mean, you can see the lineups that are winning every time now. And it's pretty much the stars who are doing well that night, and then, two shitty guys, and then one mid-price guy like an Iguodala, PJ Tucker type. So I think that's the kind of functional way I would be trying to build lineups tonight, is to get in the Harden, Durant, Paul, maybe Draymond but it all depends on how you're entering it. Like if you're entering a single entry for this, I honestly don't know what you do. For me, I'm not trying to go crazy with it, and I got rocked in one of the showdowns where I lost a fair amount of my NBA bankroll, because it's if you're not covering the angle that hits, you're fucked, and a lot of times the angle has to be Kyle Korver going off or whatever. So I think overall, there you go. Alex says they changed the rule, so if the guy is in the slate, you get points. So you would get points for Batista. Huh? Who knew? But yeah, so for basketball, I think you try to be as balanced as you can, but knowing this matchup, you're going to try to want to cram the Harden, Durant, Curry, Paul, 3 of those guys ideally, and then just try to make it work with your best guys from there. So for me, Shabazz Muhammad of the night. We're talking about a cheap guy who's getting very little run but might be useful, I think. Jordan Bell would be the one I would go with for the Warriors, down at 1,000. He's going to be a little lower owned than the Gerald Green, Kevon Looney tier of things. So I think that's one place to go. Yeah, you're right. Lewis, except for the one night when Ariza, Gordon, and Tucker were all the plays. But in general, and that can happen. But the thing is, those guys are all kind of priced up now. So even if you tried to put in, Gordon, you can go maybe Gordon, Tucker, Ariza, and then Paul, Harden. You could do that if you think the Rockets are going to win. I think that's possible. But again, just try to have a mix of salaries. Don't go too cheap. Don't go too middle priced. Consider the Jordan Bells, and for me, Joe Johnson, I would consider if I were playing a 150 lineups. If you're one of those guys, play a little Joe Johnson, because I think he's interesting. Quinn Cook too, interesting in a blowout. Those are the angles that I would think about. Think more about what does it look like if the Rockets win? If the Rockets win, it's probably a bunch of Rockets who are exceeding value, maybe Durant hitting value, maybe somebody cheap on the Warriors side hitting value. And if if the Warriors win, it's going to be because Curry goes off, Durant goes off. Like, think about it like that for these sort of things when you're building your lineups would be my NBA tips for the night. But it's tough, man. Like it's I don't know. Is it the same thing for hockey where like if you miss out on one dude like in a showdown thing, it's just you're done. Like there's no way to get around it.
Oh yeah, I mean, showdown in general, just because, and for hockey too, with it being such an event-based sport. Like if a guy scores a goal and there's only 3 goals in the game or 4 goals in the game, you're not shipping a huge tournament for a showdown without having all or most of the goal scorers and assists.
Yeah. It's similar with basketball. I mean, it's just there, especially in the playoffs, there's so few options and the usage rates get so condensed where it's like you're basically then splitting hairs to pick like, oh, who should I pair with Steph Curry and Durant? Because everybody has Steph Curry and Durant, or Durant, Harden, like whatever. It's kind of stupid. I enjoy it. Like I think there is an art to it, but like to talk about it on the show, like I'm just basically being like, yeah, I don't know, man, just fucking throw a dart at this and like hope it hits. And that's the stuff that we try to sort of preach against. Because we try to give more contextual advice and stuff that you can, repeat and use in different ways. So anyway, I don't know if you're a premium member, check out the ownership projections. I tend to find that those are helpful in differentiating my lineups and trying to figure out a construction that'll get there. And I'm still usually one player off. I mean, that's just how it is. But that's what I would advocate for, is use ownership projections as best you can, multiply them all together to get an understanding of how many people are going to have your lineup in a tournament and go from there. But back to baseball. Got 10 minutes left.
One more thing on the showdown slates, just a general question. Is it 6 players for NBA? Is that right?
Yep.
Do you tend to go more like balanced 3-3 for each team? Do you go 5-1? Like, because NHL, I found that I've had the most success going 5-1. Because if the game ends up 3-1, you want 5 players from the 3 goal scoring team, and I don't know how that translates to NBA.
I don't know that it's like an across the board thing where like with baseball with stacks, like where the guys behind the scenes at Osmo did research and like found that the stacks like have a positive EV over time. I don't think that exists as much in the basketball showdowns, but like I'm now thinking back on it, I'm pretty sure in the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference, I think like at least half the time it has been like a 5-1, whereas like one side is undervalued by Vegas and then they win, and that's basically like what turns out.
Yeah.
But it's either like a 5-1 or 4-2. I don't usually think it's pretty even because the teams. I mean, these series also haven't been very even either, so that might be part of it. Lance Lynn or Brock Stewart? We are both going to say Lance Lynn.
Lance Lynn.
Yeah, Brock Stewart is a converted reliever who's not getting enough pitches yet, not enough innings to be useful for you. And Lance Lynn is a questionable value, but he doesn't deserve to be near those other guys. Like he's better than all the guys in that range, I think.
And like usually when you got a pitcher that's $4,500, it's usually like a minor leaguer, big prospect that's coming up, and he might have a pitch count of 85. We don't have any indication that Lynn has a pitch count or anything of that nature. He just hasn't been good the last 2 starts. It's been tough matchups, and he had been missing a ton of bats before that. So I just think he's grossly underpriced, and I'll take a shot on him, get in a guy like Cole and a ton of bats, or Sale if you prefer Sale. But yeah, I think Lynn is a good play even at increased ownership in tournaments.
Would you go 1-4 or 2-5 if you were doing a Cardinal stack? Yeah, Cardinal stack.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say just because it depends who your other players are you want to play in the rest of your lineup. Like I like 1-5, so. If you think Fowler's going to be super high owned, then maybe go with the 2-5, because I'm sure O'Neal is going to be lower owned than Fowler. So if you want to play the ownership game for the stack as a whole, then sure. But I don't have a preference between 1-4 and 2-5.
For me, 2-5 gets you Tyler O'Neill, and as we've discussed, he now has a nickname, which we don't usually give guys nicknames, but he is officially Sexy Muscles. Josh is going to have to just accept that tomorrow, that whenever we talk about Tyler O'Neill, he is officially Tyler Sexy O'Neill, or Sexy Muscles O'Neill. So I would go with that. Personally, though, I would go with a 1-2-3-5 stack. I like Ozuna the least. He's the best price. But I like Carpenter. I like Fowler. I'm okay with Martinez, and I like O'Neal. I'm iffy on Ozuna. So that's just me though. As a guy who played the Cardinals yesterday and isn't playing them today. Definitely clear that NBA. Yeah, obviously NBA is less dependent on team performance than MLB. You could definitely have big numbers for guys, but the playoffs are different. The playoffs are like basically you're dealing with two kind of weird swains that don't really actually apply to the principles of like fantasy basketball, which are more about finding value and being contrarian and stuff. Because honestly, a lot of the lineups that are winning are not contrarian. They're ones that are split 15 ways to 150 ways. The one that I finished in first in was like 650 ways. And that was like the perfect lineup for that night. So it's tough on a showdown. Set your bar for success low, and if you are playing a max entry kind of situation, get a lot of dudes in there. Catcher through 3,800 or lower. Who would you go with? I presume on DK.
Grandal, yeah, you said it right there. He's on the right track. I love Grandal.
Yeah, I think it's Grandal. Hap, Richards, or Gaussman on FanDuel?
Hap, Richards, or Gaussman. So that's just process of elimination for me. It would be, I would eliminate Gaussman first, then probably Hap. I'd go with Richards, I think. Richards does have some upside. I don't even think we really mentioned him.
No.
He does have upside, but he seems like he's always got that one blow-up inning in him. So that's why I'm off of him. But it's a decent matchup, and he has good strikeout stuff. So I don't mind Richards.
I don't mind Richards. This guy, actually, I think we haven't answered his question at all, but he's asked about Max Muncy several times. Do you have any thoughts on Max Muncy? I don't think that changes anything for me. I don't think the Dodgers are a good team to go to tonight.
I mean, he's fine. If you're playing on FanDuel, he's 2,600. Like, that's fine. What is he on DK? 3,300 leading off, dual position eligibility. I just love so many other guys at first and third base that I won't end up on him. I didn't end up on him. But you can always make a case for a guy leading off, platoon split against a bad pitcher priced that way.
Yeah, I just haven't been on the Dodgers much at all lately, and it didn't even come up. Like, I didn't look at the Dodgers really at any length, so I can't say much other than that I think alone would put me off the Dodgers. But yeah, sorry it took so long to get. Like, some of these questions you guys put them in a bunch. I have no problem with you dropping them in a bunch because eventually we'll get to them. It's just more a matter of keeping the flow going and such. So yeah, drop your questions as many times as it takes to get an answer. Just don't spam like 50 times in a row. That's all we ask. Anything else we want to touch on here? Oh, here we go. Any chance if you have a lot of lineups together, you go Cole, Sale, Bauer, any of those three together? Is that even possible to accomplish that on DK, to go like two of those three?
I didn't even try it, and
yeah. It seems tough on DK, and on FanDuel you only have one pitcher, right? So
you could do it probably, but you're probably not going to have a full stack, and you're definitely not going to have two that you're really pumped about playing. So like if you wanted to go maybe like Rangers against Herman and hope he doesn't have it, it's good hitting weather and stuff. You could probably get to it, but you're still going to end up punting hard at a couple positions.
Yeah, I mean, I would think you'd probably have to go to like a Pirates Reds maybe stack, or like a. I think it's possible. I think it's possible. And that would be contrarian in a respect, to go with both Cole and Sale. Bauer, I don't think I'm not crazy about Bauer, and he doesn't grade out well in Osmo stuff. Do you have any Bauer?
No, I certainly get the play. He's gonna be really like low owned compared to Sale and Garrett Cole, and I think he's really talented. He's got the stuff. I said this morning he's got the stuff on or to shut down the Cubs. Yeah, so I don't mind the Bauer play at all. I'm just preferring to go with Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I don't mind the play either as a play. I just think that Sale looks really good to me with the raised strikeout rate and stuff. And Cole looks similarly good, but I just find it hard to not play Sale personally. And then, Sale and Bauer doesn't do it for me. If I were going to commit to that, I'd probably just go up to Cole. Don't buy Spencer Singleton's lineup. That's not useful. think he's joking, but still, don't buy it.
Don't ever pay for actual lineups, by the way. That's
yes, something we've said a few times on here, but in general, don't buy lineups. Don't add from anyone, no matter how great they are, just because that inherently goes against the value proposition of having a lineup in a tournament.
yeah.
Is Soto going to go back-to-back games with a dong? I don't mind Soto, but I didn't feel the need to go to him tonight.
I didn't end up with any Soto in my Nats stacks, but I think tomorrow might be the game where he goes yard. He's against a bad righty tomorrow, so maybe wait another day on Soto. Looking ahead to tomorrow's slate.
I like a lot of these young guys who are coming up. Like a lot of powered dudes, I feel like coming up in this last, or at least getting more shine within the last week, like Meadows, O'Neill. I don't know. Actually, is Meadows new? I feel like Meadows was a call up, right?
He just got called up, I believe.
Okay, yeah. Thank God. Yeah, Meadows, O'Neill, even Gleyber Torres hitting 2 home runs.
Yeah, that guy's raking.
Yeah, he's been nasty. I've wanted to play him a lot, and I really haven't because he's down in the 9 hole, and I feel like I always end up going like, oh, he's too down in the order or whatever. But yeah, a lot of young guys are going to rake coming up. And it's tough because like we advocate for more sample size stuff, but some of these guys have such unreal power that's just jumping off from limited sample sizes.
Yeah, you got to get ahead of some of these big prospects with power. Because some of these MLB pitchers don't have a lot of scouting reports on them or anything. They may not know where the holes in their swings are. And like if you played Bellinger last year when he first got called up, you just crushed if you consistently played him against righties. So those are the type of guys that you could get on a nice little hot streak with if you know something about them.
Yeah, I guess follow that top prospect list. Whenever you see a guy getting called into a lineup, check cross-reference with the top 100 and see how they're grading out. Because yeah, some of these guys really have valuable. Like Tyler O'Neill, I was very happy about playing last night. He had like 28 points at 5% ownership or something. Tucker Barnhart, any thoughts on? I guess it doesn't matter because we're locking. But Tucker Barnhart, what do you think? What do you foresee happening with him?
I didn't end up with Barnhart, but he is 3,000 right on DK, and
yep, cheap.
Batting second. I think he's a pretty decent hitter. So I have no issue with it. I don't even think you need to stack the Reds if you're playing Barnhart. Like 2 spot for a catcher is pretty unusual.
Oh, Neil was 50% owned on FanDuel cash. Well, he was much cheaper on FanDuel. That's probably why. On DK, I think he was like 4,100 yesterday. And today he's like 3,700, I think. But yeah, that's why. It's like a pretty crazy difference though for a player who's fucking smashing home runs, I guess, and who has sexy muscles. Like they might as well go 50% cash, 50% on him.
Sexy muscles.
That's a great nickname. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah. He would want us to promote that to like Instagram girls on his behalf, just so he could get the brand out there. Is Tyon easy to steal on?
Well, I think it's locked already, so I don't think this really matters. But
yeah, I mean, whatever. We got a couple questions.
Let me check it out. I've got a ton of tabs open. I was just reading Alex's tweet from earlier today. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, the quarter one?
Yeah.
It's funny. He's pretty good at those little wordplay jokes.
He just comes out with one like every week. He's got a little tweet, something about the industry, and he's a good follow on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Follow at Osmo DFS.
Who was I looking at? Oh, Tyon.
Yep, Tyon steal.
You can definitely steal on Tyon.
Where do you check steal rate? Because that's one actually I never check.
That is razball.com.
Not one you own. That you just partner with that one.
Right. Yeah. Not one of my main sites that I own, but. Man, Josh and this guy have been going back and forth on Twitter all night.
Oh, the dude who about like Osmo having a website.
Well, yeah, about being in the same tournaments or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I think there's a lot of things that are confusing. And I guess you kind of have to take things at good faith that like people aren't fucking you over. And I to be clear, like if I had the sense that I was working with someone who was like fucking people over, I personally would not work there. So I think, Josh in particular, if you look on Josh's Twitter timeline, you can see what we're talking about. But Josh is defending the position pretty vociferously. The unique proposition of our website is that we are able to get access to one of the top players in the world, and he's giving us the information He answers whatever I ask him on the premium videos. Like, he gives us the information that he has. So I think if anything, there's a fear that maybe he's giving away too much that might affect his profitability. But there's been nothing that's ever been held back. So, yeah, I think that I think it's a fool's thing to always lump every DFS site to the same umbrella and assume that, like, oh, they're giving you fake picks for something. That's stupid. Fucking wouldn't be doing this for an hour if we had to give all. Can you imagine if we had to give fake picks for an entire hour? I'd get caught in so many lies.
Yeah, we'd have to be like, all right, who are the good plays? Now, how do we make the bad plays sound good so that we can play all the good ones?
Yeah, I mean, like, when I've made a bad pick, Josh, like, browbeat me for going Sabathia and Kyle Gibson. And in fairness, that was the right thing. Like, they were, like, both he and our website had both said that Kyle Gibson and Sabathia were awful plays on Friday. And yeah, it's we don't lie. We don't lie about bad picks. We have a hard time dressing them up. Josh is the other person who does this live stream. He also does videos with Jake, breaking down MLB sleets every day. So go watch them. Anything else you want to touch on, Jake, or should we just wrap it up?
No. Who are you rooting for tonight?
I want the Warriors just to end it. I think it's like the Rockets aren't in their league. The Rockets need a third guy or something. So I think at this point, just end this year. Let's put them out of our misery. Let's focus on whatever the finals are. I presume the Cavs again. Cavs Warriors one more time. But do you have any rooting interest?
I mean, I always root for, the series to go a little bit longer. I'd like to see it get to a 6th game, see the Warriors get pushed a little bit, but I don't think, like, from what I've seen, that the Rockets have it in them. I don't know. You think a blowout in this game for the Warriors?
It's tough. I mean, the thing is, like, if Curry's cold, they still have Durant. They have Thompson. They, like, Draymond can even shoot a little. They've been getting so much production where it's like even if one of the guns isn't going off, they're still too good. And I think that's just going to be the situation again tonight. Like, even if the Rockets play out of their minds, which is possible because they really can't afford to go down 3-1, it's just the team is too good. It really is, like, fucked up how good they are. I don't know. It's like it's unfair. It's like the Golden Knights, except the complete opposite.
Yeah. It'd be like if the Golden Knights lost in the finals this year, signed Ovechkin, Kucherov, and a bunch of other sick skaters. Then there'd be the Warriors.
Yeah, I totally get the players you're referencing there, and I'm fully on board.
Ovechkin. Everybody knows Ovechkin. Crosby. All these guys.
Yes. People asking about Iguodala. I don't think Iguodala is playing tonight, and if he does, I don't think he's going to be useful enough. But I think that Iguodala, if he doesn't play, he would help out Nick Young. He would help out Kevon Looney. He would help out Draymond in terms of the stuff that they have to do on the court. So that's the one thing I would watch out for. But I don't think they would play Iguodala. Like, why risk a knee injury when you're this close and you need that guy? But that's my thoughts. I don't follow DFS news, so I don't know about whatever dirt people are talking about. But if you want to gossip in the chat tomorrow, we'll be back on this live stream at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you're not an Awesemo.com premium member and you're still watching, you should be an Awesemo.com premium member because all the stuff that you're watching to hear us talk about are laid out for you in a simple table every single day. So you can see the things, the ownership projections that Awesemo uses to build his lineups, the rankings that he uses, all that stuff. So go check it out, become a premium member. It's worth it, and I say that not as somebody who gets paid because of premium memberships. Jake, any final words?
Enjoy the slate, 15 games. Hope you guys are in it later. Check out the night shift. Check out the MLB strategy video tomorrow morning with me and Josh. I'm sure we'll be celebrating over our huge GPP wins. And, yeah, it should be a fun night of MLB. Looking forward to watching this NBA game, too.
Yeah, have fun, everybody watching sports, and we will see you again soon. Thank you.